Thomas MacManus is a lecturer in the International State Crime Initiative at Queen Mary University here in London. He joins me in the studio. Thanks very much for coming in. So to go back to what the ICC can and can't look into, are you surprised by the decision of the ICC?
Well, the decision by the ICC is unprecedented, but it's not entirely surprising. It's unprecedented because no one's asked the question before. Is deportation involved in both two states? And it's kind of logical when you think about it and legally sound that you have two states and a border, so to deport someone you need to move them from one state to another. So the ICC was asked if that second state is a member, can the crime be then within the jurisdiction? And they agreed today that it is.
And beyond what's happened with the Rohingya, what are the implications? I mean, is this something that you think will set a precedent that can open up a large number of cases?
Yes, it is definitely a precedent, and countries who haven't signed the ECC will be looking at this very carefully. And I'm thinking about Israel, the United States and China, who may be involved in deportations themselves. But the court went even further today and said that the prosecutor may also have jurisdiction for persecution if people are moved over into a neighbouring country, and other inhumane acts. And that they're thinking of the deplorable conditions you were just showing in the camps in Bangladesh. And that since the Rohingya are not allowed to return to Myanmar, then that government is also responsible. So other countries will be looking at it.
And in terms of getting sort of accountability, even if you say it applies in both on both sides because of deportation, you need two states. If the state that has deported in the first place doesn't recognise the ICC, presumably they're not going to let anybody be extradited for crimes against the people who've...
Well, that's right. Yeah. If an indictment is pursued, then it's unlikely that you'll be able to go into the country to arrest anyone because you'd be breaching that country's sovereignty. But it does mean that people who are indicted won't be able to travel anymore, would be at risk of arrest any time they arrived in another country. And this puts a lot of pressure on the Myanmar military and the civil leadership.
So what's the next step then after this announcement?
So the next step for the prosecutor is to, within a reasonable time, start an examination of the issue. If they find, which I am sure that they will, that the crimes have been committed, then they will look to start an investigation and bring charges. But also the fact that since the crime has been committed in one country and has been expanded into Burma, Myanmar, the prosecutors could also look at whether this deportation is part of the genocide process.
And in terms of what we might achieve with this, I mean, yes, it sounds good, but with the ICC in the history of it, they've made big arrests and actually in the end cases have not gone through, and it's not always felt as though they've achieved the kind of the justice for people who needed it most. Are you optimistic that this actually is a different kind of situation with the ICC? Well,
the ICC, they do have people they have indicted still at large, and it's very difficult to get to them. But in this situation, what it does now is puts pressure on the British government and other Security Council permanent members. It now seems that tabling a resolution to refer the entire matter, including genocide, crimes against humanity, to the ICC is the way forward. And it would be much harder to veto, much harder to resist, now that the ICC is already looking at the issue. So it might lead to some progress with a resolution at the UN Security Council.
Thomas MacManus, thank you very much indeed for coming to talk to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.